that money, 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 money. I don't come to money, 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 money. Do it all for money, 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 money. Let me stack that money, 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 money. Come and get that money, 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 money. I don't come to money, money.
Good evening. Welcome to Plus Money Golf on the Fantasy Sports Corp Network. The show with the pro and the caddy. That'd be Adam and Smitty. My name's Eric. I'm just the host. We are brought to you this evening by Jazz Sportsbook Casino and Racebook, as well as our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Use code Plus Money, all one word. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Doesn't get much better than that. Chris is over there doing the real work, keeping us on the internet. We got Aaron Hill's own Looper Smitty and the reigning 5-time Dubuque champion Adam Miller. So I feel like we're going to pick some winners this evening. How we doing, boys?
Good.
Doing good.
Two goods.
Wish I would have done better over the weekend with my picks, but Adam picked up the slack big time, so we're okay.
Yeah.
That he did.
Lucas Glover
does it again.
You guys had me doubt. You guys had me doubting that I picked him, and I was like, "Should I better go on there and make sure I did actually pick him?"
Yeah, unfortunately, I only had him as a top 20 and didn't put him in anywhere else. But like I said, Adam picked up the slack and had him throughout the whole thing. So
as I went back and checked to make sure I actually said on the air for him that we were picking him, and then Smitty said, "You'd have to be an idiot after not watching," and then he didn't pick him.
Well, no. So like so you know that I'm not going to take. So first of all, he's the first back-to-back winner on tour this year, right? And like you guys know me well enough that I'm not going to pick a back-to-back guy. Like I just won't, right? And not really anyways. And like Lucas Glover, he's not the flashiest of flashy back-to-back pick like winner picks, whatever. But
he's been under par since I was 22 years old.
Yeah, he's been crazy. And like what we were talking about filling out your DK lineup, weren't we, Eric? About how do you not put Lucas Glover in there?
Yeah. His proximity to hole, he's ranked number 1 this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
Approaches from 125. He's
what
fifth.
does proximity to hole mean?
Like
The
how far
closest
away?
he is for birdie.
That's different from approach.
Approach from 100 yards, second. Fairway proc 72, rough proc 75. I mean, the dude's dialed in off the tee, and he said he's not even hitting it good. He's like, I haven't hit it good in a couple weeks, really.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough.
If I would hate to see the guy if he's hitting it good. I mean, if he gets his irons dialed in, it could be lights out for the next 2 events for these boys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Want to play off against Cantlay, who's a 2-time defending champ at this one we're doing this week.
Just to toot Adam's horn a little bit more, I mean, Lucas Glover is the first winner of a FedEx Cup playoff event outside of the top 25 in the past 5 years. So he's the first guy outside of the top 25 to win a FedEx Cup playoff event. It's pretty impressive. Wow. And, what were his odds again to win it?
75.
75. Adam was the only person in the entire world who thought he was going to win.
I texted a reputable person at a betting site, and he said, "I can't believe you picked him." And I was like,
I can't
literally,
believe
I know more than you guys do.
5-1, dude.
Yeah, I was like, the guy's dialed in. And then he said he had all of his money on Xander, and he said that's why he doesn't win. And I said, well, you're clearly not listening to our show enough.
No,
Xander. Why is all of his money on Xander? Did you ask him why? Because that doesn't even make any sense at this point in the season.
You seem to pick him a lot, so I thought, well, maybe there's something to it. I don't know.
I don't pick him a lot. I picked him like once or twice this year. Looking back at my notes right now.
Yeah, we're not a big Xander show.
Last year he
you pick Morikawa a lot. That's who you pick.
Yeah, he's a big Morikawa guy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
He was looking pretty good there for a while this weekend.
I mean, Taylor Moore just kind of fell off the last day. I thought he was going to give it a little go, but
yeah, I was spot on with all my underdog lineups when it came to Taylor Moore and what he was going to do on Sunday. Unfortunately, a couple other guys didn't follow suit.
I mean, Glover moved up 68 spots last week and then 45 spots this week to 4th in the FedEx in 2 weeks. In
Well,
2
right,
weeks. He
and
went
so
from outside the top 100 to inside 4.
right, and what people don't know, might not know either, is that you get 2,000 points for a
Yeah.
win in the FedEx Cup, which is quadruple the amount of points you'd get, right? So you get 500 points for a normal
Yeah.
win, unless it's one of those like alternate events,
Elevated.
like yeah,
Oh, yeah.
then it's like 300 because the field's shit.
That's what happened to Batia, where he thought he was a lock for the top 70, and he screwed himself by not signing up for the event after he won.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, he's got an exemption, so who cares? It's just free money after you get in the top 70. Now the top 50 gets 2-year exemption. So if you haven't won, but you're in the top 50, that's a 2-year exemption plus.
Which is really huge for these guys.
Yeah.
But I will say that when you look, if you go and look at the top 70, and now you look at the top 50 this week, right?
Yeah.
The cream really rose to the top. Like you look at those 20 guys that aren't moving on, and it's not anybody that you'd be like, oh man, I can't believe that this guy didn't make it type thing. I mean,
Right.
there's just and I'm not trying to knock those guys by any means. They're really good players and they've shown that. But at the same time, when you have all of the top 70 players in the world, they sort themselves out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But like, how about this weekend with like Ricky Fowler's performance and Wyndham Clark? Ouch.
Yeah.
Did not play very well. Luckily for Wyndham, he's got the season he's had so far, so he's far enough in the points. He didn't really drop all that much, but dang, like he was not good.
Nobody really dropped off a huge amount except for Jason Day dropped 10 spots. Sam Burns dropped 11. Kitayama dropped 10, but everybody else kind of stayed at 1 or 2 spots up or down.
Yeah, what's going on with Sam Burns? Like he's been kind of like JT-ish lately, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the mullet.
Could be.
He like gets
Some guys
streaky, and
can't
the next thing you
handle
know, he just like blocks a drive, and then he makes double.
The mullet's a lot of power. It's like a big motorcycle. Not everybody can handle that.
You know what? I was looking. I love following Michael Kim on X. I almost said Twitter. Sorry, on X and
on Golf X.
And he was in a conversation with some people on there about talking about the mental side of things of the game, and when like things go awry or you hit a bad shot, like he said, we're just like every other person in the world too. Like we are human, and we yes, we have a lot of talent, and we're capable of doing things that amateurs can't. But he's like, at the same time, like we still have that self-doubt going on in our heads, and trying to stay as much into the present as we possibly can is a really big thing. But it was interesting to think, like, for somebody like him, he comes out and says, yeah, dude, like sometimes we're human too, and we let those bad thoughts creep into our minds, and all of a sudden, like you said, we block a drive, and they hit something thin, or they hit it too far, whatever it might be, they get something fat and chunky. Like that stuff happens. TV doesn't pick that up all the time when guys are watching it, right? Like they don't always go to those things. They want to see the pure shots and the shots that they're throwing darts at the pin.
Yeah, you don't see him unless you're at an event when you see a guy hit a bad shot and he's like, fuck, he's throwing his club or, slamming clubs or whatever. They don't show that on TV. So, but go to any tournament and you can see 50 guys that'll be pissed off about a shot they hit 10 feet from the flag.
Right. But I will say, we were just talking about Sam Burns. He did have a pretty sick hole-in-one over the weekend. 157-yard par 3, and he literally flew it, dunked it into the cup. Like that was super cool. I even got my wife to say "wow" when I showed her the replay, which means it's pretty cool.
Then it's impressive
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Glover's
Rory's figuring it out.
Rory's played really good. 67, 66, 68, 65. So
yeah, and
did you hear the thing about his putter where he had to take it to get it cut down at Edwin Watts? It was 3/16 of an inch.
It's crazy.
3/16 of an inch.
What? Long?
Too long. He said to me, or to most people, you would never notice, because he said when they took it into Edwin Watts and the guy was holding the putter that Rory, his old putter and his new putter, and they set him down side by side, and he goes, these are the exact same. And his caddy goes, Rory can tell the difference. And he goes, okay, well, let's just pull the grips and see. And yeah, it was 3/16 of an inch too long. That's crazy how good a feel that guy has.
That's how in tune you are with yourself and your game, man. Like that's wild.
187 thousandths of an inch. And he's
I
like,
mean,
yeah, this ain't right.
that means those guys are, you know, holding it in the exact same spot and it just didn't feel right to him. And I was like, I don't know, but the TaylorMade guy says that they even use the wrong type of tape on his grips. He can tell immediately. Said if we regrip 14 clubs and we use a different tape on one grip, he can tell exactly within seconds which one's wrong.
That's like the story of Tiger and the tees. Remember that?
Yeah. Where you use the short tees.
The short tees, and there's like how could that's
They just like bought some tees and cut them off to the length he wants and made them.
Mhm. Yeah, so that these guys are freaks, man, and it's insane and kind of scary how well they know their bodies and how well they know their skills and what they need to be successful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like I don't know. People are talking, well, not talking, I feel like, enough about Rory and the fact that he is the defending FedEx Cup champion, and he was starting to come on there and he's starting to play, some Rory golf, and it'll be interesting to see.
he's third.
It'll be interesting
playing
to
with
see.
Lucas Glover. That's going to be good for Lucas to get some
Ooh.
primetime TV playing with Rory.
Yeah, about time.
The best video I saw, which I reshared a bunch, was Lucas Glover when they said, have you thought about the Ryder Cup? And he said, 15 minutes ago, I thought about it. And they're like, what do you think? And he said, well, I haven't played on it and I really want to play on it. So, I mean, if that's not a guy motivated to win this week or top 2 or 3, I mean, if he's not hitting it good and he wants to play in the Ryder Cup, if he gets something figured out, it's going to be dialed in. I mean, this is a lot like the Billy Horschel run from 4 or 5 years ago where he didn't get selected for the Ryder Cup and then wins 3 of the 4 FedEx events.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, they get on and they become like machines.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with several guys. It's like once you see putts go in from 30 plus feet, the 5-footers are real easy to make. It's like Spieth, when he used to make everything outside of 30 feet, but he couldn't make a 5-footer. And it's like, well, just hit it farther away from the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just set yourself up a little worse and you'll be good.
Which
wow.
Jordan Spieth came out firing this last weekend, and he played really well. I thought that it was weird because it's that course and then this one this weekend, just they're not Jordan Spieth courses.
No.
So
I mean, it looked exactly like TPC Deer Run from the tee on almost every hole. Like if you would have had a TPC Deer Run playing on one screen and that on the other, you would have been hard to figure out what the difference was.
Yeah, I guess it's just I don't know. And then with the fairways being so narrow and the rough being penal and stuff, and I thought that Jordan would really struggle, and he seemed to show that he's in prime form, and we'll see because things get even harder, much harder this weekend.
Well, he did kind of struggle down the line, didn't he? Like block a couple drives.
He did, but
I knew they were coming when he started making a charge. I was like, let's just not get too hyped up here because
he always keeps it interesting.
One of these drives is going to go awry here in a minute.
Yeah, he always keeps it interesting.
But I thought it was interesting, like Hadwin top 20 and Russell Henley top 20. Russell Henley was top 6, but those are guys that play good at Deere every year too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just some really good golf that was played. And then like Patrick Cantlay, right? Who, okay.
64.
I mean, Patrick Cantlay, right? Coming into this week, he's won the last 2, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't at this course. So much different course setup, obviously, this week and everything. But I mean, the history's there, right? Where he's got to feel pretty comfortable and confident coming in. He's like, man, I've been playing pretty damn well this time of year.
Yeah.
Last couple of years. So, and then he shoots a 64 on Sunday to get him to that playoff type thing. And it's just like, well, all right, well, let's see what happens here.
I really thought Glover was going to bury that putt on 18. I mean, he makes 2 bogeys and then, makes that 30-foot bogey putt, makes another one, and then I thought he made that last putt. It just left it 3 inches short of the hole from just walk off.
Oh, and then recovers mentally to win in a playoff.
He said he knew he wasn't hitting it good, but his short game was good enough to keep him in. So that's all it takes, really. I mean, if you know your short game's dialed, you don't have to be on your A game.
Yeah. Just
A
get
lot
it
like
to the...
like Tiger used to say, like short game's going to bail him out if he's not hitting it good. So clearly it works.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, I
this
mean, if
week,
you have a good short game, you're set for a while.
Yeah.
sounds like it. I mean, you're going to get it near the green. So that's where men separate from boys. This week, the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields North Course. Past winners include, but are not limited to, Rory in 2012, Billy Horschel, Jason Day, JT, Keegan Bradley, all these guys you've heard of. Patrick Cantlay won the last 2 in a row. John Rahm is the last to win at the North Course in 2020. Formerly the club's number 4 course, the North Course was designed in 1923 by Musselburgh native Willie Park Jr., 2-time Open champion and grandfather of inland golf design, although Park's work includes more than 100 golf courses worldwide. This one's like his favorite, so it must be a real piece of work.
Yeah, I mean, they had the Open here. They haven't had a Ryder Cup here, have they?
No, they have a nice little resume though. I mean, they've had 2 U.S. Opens. I mean, obviously one was in 1928, but still, it's a U.S. Open, right? But the last one was in 03, and then they've had 2 PGA Championships. That was again a long time ago, 1925 and 1961, and then 5 Western Opens, which that's what this used to be, right? And then they had a Senior Open in 97, and then the most recent was the U.S. Amateur in 2015 when Bryson won, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, so they get some events. Par is 70.
There's a million good courses in Chicago, so it's hard to get. If you're going to take a major to Chicago, it's like pick from 50 good courses.
Yeah, the last U.S. Open, the U.S. Open winner they had in 2003 was none other than sweet swinging Jim Furyk, baby.
Furyk. Wow, that's from back when my dad used to be watching golf in the living room. It's like Stuart Sink days, isn't it?
Yep. He's just wearing it out on the senior tour. So
didn't Stuart Sink just set the record for most senior wins?
No, that was Bernhard Longer.
Man, that's the gig. You get on that senior tour and it's just Mai Tais and golf courses.
Well, I mean, they can ride karts. They play not super difficult courses. They play courses that really most people have access to. They're not playing like ultra privates like a lot of these tour events are.
So what kind of golfers are we looking for in this thing? How are the greens? Are they tiny like last week?
Yeah, tabletop greens, man. They're not going to be very big. You're talking I don't know. He's got me flustered right now. I'll just leave it that way. But
he can't do it 2 weeks in a row with these little greens.
The fairways, they are much narrower this week. Even you're talking about like 26-yard wide, and then tree line fairways too. So like you're off the fairway and boom, you're into the trees. You're not only into the rough, you're into the trees, and the rough is going to be something else too. I mean, it's not going to be your typical just walk in the park. I mean, it's going to be probably 4.5, 5 inches in the rough, which that's no joke.
And it's been raining in Chicago for the last 2 weeks almost.
Which means grass is going to grow as the weekend continues, right?
Yeah. We just drove through that area yesterday. It was torrential downpours. Grass is going to be sprouting.
Who's hot and, top 5 in driving accuracy?
Lucas Glover's
LG.
top 5 in everything, isn't he?
He's getting there.
I was reading something before that, I'll wait till we get into the picks.
Well, then, before we do that, a message from our friends at Jazz Online Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook. Go over there, use code TSS. You're going to get a deposit match, play some poker, bet some games, bet some ponies, live bets, whatever you want to get going. We encourage all that stuff. Top 20. Smitty, hang on. Let me delete last week's picks from the notes app. and
This course
then
looks
we'll get
really
into these
flat.
picks. Yeah, when I looked at it as a layman, it looked like a boring golf course to me.
Those are the
It
ones
says
that
it's only
get
about
you.
600 feet of elevation. And it's like, which is actually,
Hole one's like 626 right out of the gates, par 5.
it actually ranks ninth highest of an elevation rank, which is kind of crazy. But
Yeah,
to
just
the, yeah,
clicking through the pictures and it's
to
like
the eye, it
flat.
doesn't. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a Midwestern
Yeah, it's
Illinois
like
golf course. They don't have a lot of hills
in
down
town
there.
Chicago. Yeah,
We refer to them as flatlanders up here, so they can't have many hills.
I mean,
I
if
heard
you
the
get-
most like correlated course, the most like comparable course is Winged Foot.
oh,
All right, now I'm ready. What do you got for
interesting.
top 20, Smitty?
Top 20s. Well, odds are crazy this week a little bit.
Shitty, you mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. Like that's what it's going to be. All the big dogs are favored to be where they're supposed to be, right? I have JT Poston at plus 150. Just he's been playing really solid, and I was actually shocked to see where he finished. See him finish where he did this last weekend. I couldn't believe that he wasn't at least in the top 15. He kind of stumbled a little bit there.
Was it round 2 or 3 he played really bad?
I think it was 3, if I'm thinking correctly here.
Yes. Well, he shot 70-70 on the weekend.
Yeah.
So
what you can't do, but that's what killed Morikawa's weekend too, is just shooting 70. And you just can't do that if you're trying to win a golf tournament.
Not anymore.
Not against these dudes.
So I think he's a little disappointed, obviously, how he played, but I mean, he's playing phenomenal golf, and I think that's a guy that's going to be in the top 20. Then I have Taylor Moore at plus 175. He's playing golf. He's playing golf really well lately, and obviously, I think Sunday was a little bit too much for him. I think he looked around over his right shoulder, and he looked over his left, and he's like, "Why am I standing in this group of people?" And that's kind of put him to bed there a little bit. But I mean, shoot, he was still 12 under for the weekend and finished 5th. I mean, it's no joke. I mean, he went 66, 66, 65, and then finished it up with that 71, which I thought was kind of going to happen. But no reason he shouldn't be in the top 20 if he continues to play that way. Then I have Sahith Theegala at plus 190.
All right.
Played really well. It was T13 this last weekend. And he, before this last weekend, he was talking about how he just was disappointed in how his game has been as of late. And it was, he was excited to get the FedEx Cup playoffs going, and he was feeling confident in his game. And so I think with a T13 and a 66 on Sunday, he's definitely trending in the right direction there. Top 20 doesn't seem out of character for him. And then I have Eric Cole at plus 200. Just a guy who's been playing solid golf this season. And then I have Adam Svensson at plus 230. He's got like 5 straight top 40s coming into this weekend. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention about him. He kind of fizzled out a little bit. He started out like really, really fast too. Shot a 66 on day 1, and then kind of went 69, 70, 70 the rest of the way to finish top T37. But I mean, he's definitely got the ammo to definitely sit in the top 20 there. So that's where I'm kind of at right now with my top 20. I might throw another guy in there at some point. I just haven't decided on who it is yet, so I won't waste anybody's time that way.
You either shoot mid 60s or you're cooked.
Yeah.
These days, it seems.
But it's going to be hard this weekend. I feel like it's going to be, if you can get 2 under rounds every day, that's where you kind of want to be.
And it's going to take deep, to move up the board this week, because everybody at the top 10 or 12 is pretty much set. So,
yeah. And, for somebody, we're not going to see I don't think we're going to see a ton of guys go like super low, right? Like each day there might be one guy who goes super low because they catch fire. It's just going to be a lot of like grinded out golf, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, it might take them a day just to get their feet under him, with the different style. We went Bermuda grass 2 weeks. Now we're back to bent. So
Oh,
that does a little different for you.
Yeah.
yep. Isn't our guy posting a Bermuda grass fan?
No, Deer's TPC Deer Run is bent.
Oh, then we're in great shape.
Yeah. No, it's a good bet.
Who's in your top 20, Adams?
So my top 20, I also had JT posting at 150.
Excellent.
And then I had Adam had one at 190. Played good last week to 16th, I believe. So another
it's a
solid
good
top
draft
20
team
for
play.
him. Yep. And then Taylor Moore also at 175. Just because last week he played good. I think he's disappointed. He's going to come out playing. This is more of a, he lives in Oklahoma. So this is kind of a style of course he would play there. So maybe it fits his eye a little better. And then Nick Taylor at 280, who's basically at the bottom and needs to make a move to get in the top 30. So I thought he's probably motivated to move up. And then Eric Cole at 200 also.
Oh,
Just because he's a good player. I mean,
He is a good player.
The guy plays on any kind of course and plays well. So that's kind of what I was thinking. He's going to move up the list here.
Yeah. Get 2-1 on a guy like that to just finish in the top 20. I mean, including ties.
Patrick Rogers is on the bubble this week.
He is. I saw his name and that's one of the guys that I was pondering about.
Matsuyama's on the bubble. Tom Hoagie, Harris English, Cam Young, Cam Davis. JT's at 43. Oh
man.
Fitzpatrick's at 40. That's crazy.
Oh.
I mean, you're getting it's like the 30 to 50 guys are the pretty good players.
When's the last time that Fitzpatrick has done anything though? Like that's been the thing with him this year is that he hasn't really played much at all.
Yeah. Hoagie flashed a couple times lately.
Yeah.
I wanted Matt Fitzpatrick. I wanted to put him somewhere on my picks this week, but then I look at his statistics and I looked at where he's been and I'm like, you can't do that because he's a guy who plays those plays these hard courses really well. Like he loves these tough courses. But
they make them all look easy now.
I know.
Yeah. The level of golf these days is crazy.
Unreal.
All right. Top 10, Smitty. We got.
All right. I have Victor Hovland at plus 140. This guy honestly, he's my favorite. He's my favorite pick this week. I'll just tell you that right now. I really, really like him. I think he's going to win.
He just started slow this week.
He did. He shot
finished good.
72.
Yeah, and it's finished 64, 65.
He has it all, and he can hit the ball well. He can drive with accuracy. His approach game's there. His short game's there. Like everything's there for him, and I think that he's the kind of guy that can definitely grind things out to get a win, while also having a round where he could be one of the few guys going super low. So I like him a lot. Plus 140. I have Colin Morikawa again at plus 200.
There he is.
He was right there. He was right there. Just had that one round of 70, which is like, oh, that's not bad, but
didn't used to be.
You got to be under par, man.
Back when you could burn a butt down on the fairway, 70 was a good score.
Yeah, I know. And then I got roped back in. I have Jordan Spieth at plus 225.
I mean, how could we not?
I'm still
a good number for him.
Yeah, I agree. And then I have Ricky Fowler at plus 250. I just feel like this last week was weird, and I don't know what the deal was there, but he's a guy that, again, you want to look at like grind out courses and stuff and guys that can play like that. It's Ricky Fowler. And then I have Corey Connors at plus 330. Was he T6? No, T13, yeah. T6 this year, this last week, and went back-to-back rounds, 65-65 to finish the tournament. So I really like him too. He's a ball striker, and he plays courses like this. I feel like pretty solid, and he's going to be confident. So that's kind of where I'm rounding out.
It's like a flat Canadian course, parklands.
I was actually reading more too about after I had already put Svensson and Connors on my list. I was reading an article about how this course plays favorable to some of the Canadian players, which I thought was interesting. And I was like, well, maybe I'm smart. I don't know, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think you figured it out.
I liked Connors. I just didn't have room for him.
I'm a big Connors guy this week. Then you haven't picked him as much this year, so we must be feeling good about old Corey Connors this week.
Yeah.
Who's in your top 10s, Adam?
So I've got Fleetwood at 175.
I was going to ask about him.
He's bound to get a win. I feel like he's getting so close. He just had one bad hole coming in last week that kept him from being in that playoff. Then I had Max Homa at 200. Just, I don't know.
I like Max Homa too, though. I like him a lot, and
I didn't have a reason. His name popped out at me, and 200 seemed like a good number because everybody was at negative for even top 10s.
Yeah, I just didn't find room for him because I had to put Jordan Spieth on my list.
I know. And then I had Ricky Fowler at 250 also. And then I also had Spieth at 225.
Let's go.
And then Lucas Glover at 280. How do
They're
you not
making Lucas Glover plus 280?
How do you have Max Homa ranked better than a guy who's won the last two events for a top 10? It makes zero sense to me at all.
I'll tell you why. Because he just won the last two fucking tournaments.
He went 6-4-2-1-1.
There's not going to be there's just not going to be. I mean, top 10,
6-4-2-1-1.
top 10, I can see maybe, right? I get it, but
he hasn't finished outside the top 10 in his last 6 events.
Something has to give at some point, especially when you have just a level of talent that's up there. I know that he's right there. I know that he's obviously there with him, but I mean,
he can beat 25, 30 guys in this field easily for a top 10.
Yeah.
And then there's 10 guys that can't play. So
I'm just playing statistics more. That's why he's not on my list. And
he's not even hitting it good yet.
7,500.
He shows up and he's hitting it good. Then these boys.
Clearly, I was the only one that had Lucas Glover faith last week in the whole world. Besides Lucas Glover.
Yep. I don't even think Lucas Glover understands how good he's playing.
I do.
No, he doesn't.
I think he still thinks he can get better because he's not. He said he wasn't hitting it good.
Yep.
And if all you got to do is learn how to hit better iron shots, and he leads the tour in proximity to greens, and he thinks he's not hitting it good, that's scary.
Yep.
It's like something Tiger would say.
Yeah, after he wins the tournament.
After he wins 6 in a row,
Yeah.
If he wins this week, you think he's a lock for the Ryder Cup? Let's say he gets top 5 this week, top 5 next week. How do they not pick him?
I don't know how they don't pick him already, regardless of he could finish last than it,
He's in his last 6 events, he's finished better than any player on tour.
Yeah. He'd have to finish outside the top 20 to fall out of favor for the
if he finishes in the top, 7 or 8 this week, that's now we're talking about comparison to Tiger and Scotty Scheffler with, top 7s in so many weeks in a row. It's crazy.
I know.
Now the winners. Who's going to win this thing, Smitty? Corey Connors, Victor Hovland,
probably
Jordan Spieth.
I already told you that that Hovland is my favorite pick this weekend. So I do have Victor Hovland at plus 1,600. I have Rory at plus 650.
What did you say, Rory McIlroy? You saw another Rory playing?
Say Rory. Listen, he's a defending champion, and he's playing really good golf. And I like the way he's trending right now. That's for me though. Like I said, for me, if I'm betting on him at plus 650, I'm putting 2 units on that. And then I have Colin Morikawa at plus 2,500. Ricky Fowler at plus 3,000. And then I have Jordan Spieth at 2,800. I want to give a little credit here too. I guess
Texas style course
to Patrick Cantlay. He's 10-1, which I thought were really, really shitty odds.
Yeah,
And I was like, really? He's 10-1. I know that he played really well this last weekend too and stuff, but at like 10-1, man, that's crazy. I felt like if he was more around like that 1600, right around where Hovland would be at, then I think I would have probably kicked Spieth off mine and put Cantlay in there. But at 10-1, I didn't love it. But I mean, if you don't love my Fowler or Spieth or even Morikawa there, I mean, then throw Cantlay in there. He's definitely capable of winning, obviously.
Yeah. Guys, what? Won the last two? He can win this one. He just just had a playoff last week. He's feeling it. He probably hitting it good.
A guy that I didn't talk about, and I don't know what Adam's going to say in his outrights here or whatever, but like Jon Rahm, I mean, I know Adam picked him, had one of his picks last week, I believe. And he won, he won this event in 2020, right? Or he won here in 2020, and he obviously could do it again, but it's just, I don't know where Jon Rahm is, man. He's so like up and down and all over the place.
Yep.
And
he's like a guy. I feel like he's a guy who needs to play more. He's not playing as much as he used to.
I think he went down to Mexico and partied too much after the Masters. That's what I think.
I mean, you have some of these guys like who've just been crawling up the FedEx, like Glover and Hadwin and Hadley, and these guys they've played 7-8 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of these guys, you saw it in the first round scores last week, where they're just like shooting around par or 1 or 2 over or 1 or 2 under, and it's like I think they're just not competition ready, like Tiger would say,
Yep.
Like they just need reps.
Yeah.
Get out there, get seasoned.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, what do you got for winners?
So I had Cantlay at 1,000, just because he played good last week at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Good momentum coming into this week. Whether win or lose, he didn't look too happy either way, just because he doesn't show any emotion. And he's got LaCava on the bag, so he's been playing faster, so that's always good. And then I've got Rory at 650, because I think we're in Chicago where he likes to win. And I think that's good for him. And then Victor Hovland also at 1,600. I just think he's due for another win and on a big stage.
Agreed.
And then I also have Ricky Fowler at 3,000. This course looked like, to me, something about it just said Ricky Fowler.
Good enough for me.
And then so the last pick, there's 2 guys. You could, if you don't agree with me, whatever, you can pick the other guy. But Lucas Glover at 3,500. Back to back, and he's not hitting it good. I feel like the whole Ryder Cup question sealed it.
He's full of shit if he's saying he's not hitting it well, by the way.
He's hitting it well, but not like he wants to, I guess. I mean, he had a few loose iron shots where he was having those 20 footers. He was just making them.
Yeah.
But I think when they asked him about the Ryder Cup, that gave him a little extra click of motivation. Not only keeping his card to win last week and then this week, but now all of a sudden it's like Ryder Cup is the goal. So we've seen guys get really fired up and dominate in these playoffs when they're not on the automatic Ryder Cup already.
Mm-hmm.
The other one you could pick if you don't think Glover has a chance is Keegan Bradley at 5,500. Plays good in Chicago generally. I think he's kind of motivated too. He's on the edge of the Ryder Cup also. So I think looks like a Bradley course to me at 5,500. So, but if I had to pick one of those guys, I would probably say I'm going to stick with Glover, because I think the Ryder Cup motivation is bigger than saying he can't win 3 in a row. Like, who cares, move on.
Big motivator, man. People want to play for their country.
I mean,
the mental aspect.
When they asked him and he said, I'm thinking that I want to be on the Ryder Cup team. And I'm like, man, that dude looked like, when he said that, you could tell he was like, that's all he cares about right now.
Yep.
And
how funny
motivation.
It's crazy to see stuff like that going on right now for guys that are fighting tirelessly to represent their country and be a part of something like that, right? Where in the world of sports in general, I feel like a lot of that has fizzled out and nobody gives a shit at all about representing their country. You got guys, you got people now, men and women alike, that are jumping ship and getting exemptions to be able to go from playing for this country to going and playing for that country. And I'm like, what? You're either from this place or you're not. Like, how are you?
Right.
I don't get that shit.
Ain't no transfer portal with nations.
I mean, it's like, I feel like the Ryder Cup's the only event where in sport where people care about playing for their country. But I played with the guy today, and he was saying, like, apparently if you're play at a Ryder Cup, you're exempt. Like when you get on the senior tour, you're exempt in like the senior open, the senior PGA, like for life. There's like tons of fringe benefits just for being on a Ryder Cup team. I'd have to look into it, but that's like one of the benefits. I know there's exemptions in the majors and different events for being on a Ryder Cup team. Tiger invites you down to his Bahamas tournament that only has 15 guys, has world golf rankings with 15 guys and huge payout at the Bahamas. Yeah.
Probably get
it's Tiger.
Leased Mercedes for life. All kinds.
Yeah. I'm sure there's lots of financial long-term benefits to playing, but he, this guy is 42 years old, was a world beater coming out of college and amateur, and, wins an open and then doesn't do anything for years. Now he's won 3 times in the last 3 years. So, and did he almost win the FedEx last year? Didn't he shoot like 61 or something? He had a putt for 59 and missed like a 2-footer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like him.
I can't argue with anything.
Resurgence of the old guys these days.
Yep. It's
I
like
mean,
an old guy revolution.
These kids don't know what they're getting into messing with the old guys.
Nope.
You don't.
A mental game as
somebody
well.
once told me you don't fuck with old people and you don't fuck with hippies.
Yep. Well, what else we got? Props? Anything like that?
I didn't see any good ones because the odds are so trash this week.
That's
yeah,
true.
I mean, I don't really love any props, to be honest with you.
I'll run through our picks then. Adam's top 20, Poston Hadwin, Moore, Taylor, Cole. Smitty's top 20 posted, Taylor, Moore, Thiegela, Cole, Svensson. I see a lot of lining up there. That's always good. Top 10s, Adams are Fleetwood, Homa, Fowler, Spieth, and Glover. Spieth making a lot of appearances here. And Smitty's top 10, Hovland, Morikawa, Spieth, Fowler, Connors. I see my DFS lineup forming here. It's all the common guys that you guys have. I think that's going to be the ticket. Who's going to win? Adam says Cantlay, Rory, Hovland, Fowler, Glover, or Keegan Bradley. Smitty says, yeah, Hovland, Morikawa, Spieth, Fowler, and Connors.
No, not Connors.
No?
Rory.
Oh, I was looking at Smitty's top 10. Sorry.
Oh.
Rory. Yes, Rory,
Yep.
650.
Yep.
Morikawa, Fowler, Spieth, Hovland, 1,600. I think Keegan Bradley is my favorite bet. I see him on this past winners list, and then there's a 5,500 next to his name. I like that about him.
He plays sneaky, He's a good ball striker, decent putter, small greens.
That's what we need.
He
can make some noise.
I think the small greens favor Jordan Spieth just because nobody really beats that guy's short game. Maybe Glover's short game is pretty good, but Spieth is like next level.
He never ceases to amaze me when watching him in a weekend. I mean, even when he plays terribly, there are just greenside shots that only he can have the imagination and creativity.
That's crazy
to come so close to making or just making shots. I mean, he had a couple shots this weekend where it's like, what?
It's like when you see him chipping and you're like, he's, around the green, you're like, that's got like a 90% chance going in. It's like every time he touches a wedge, it's like, man, this thing's going to hit the flag or just trickle in.
Well, how many guys when they're, let's say 10 to 15 yards off the green chipping, right? Whether they're in rough, whether they're in fairway, whether they're in the sand, how many guys go into those shots thinking I'm going to make this shot?
2, Jordan and Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Only Jordan Spieth can beat Jordan Spieth.
From experience, what's your mindset in with shots like that? Save par, right?
Yeah. No, their mindset is make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Win the damn thing.
That can
The
also
crazy
explode.
thing,
can also implode on you very quickly, but which it has on him. But man,
Mhm.
when he gets that thing rolling, he streaks on a couple of those.
I mean, how about that chip that up and down Glover made last week on 17? That was like embedded basically. And it wasn't embedded in the ground. It was embedded in the guy that hit it there before its divot. And he got no relief and he chunks it out of there and makes par. That was stupid.
Yep.
Defied physics.
He's like, well, that's just what I got. And he just hit it,
Yep. Wait till he starts hitting it good. Thank you, people, for tuning in. Thanks, Adam and Smitty, for all of your hard work putting all these winners together. 75-1, no big deal. That'll pay the rent. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Fantasy Sports Corp channel here on YouTube. You're already here, so it's easy. Or you can follow the show on the Twitter, on the X. I have to change that in the document. You follow us on X at Plus Money Golf, all one word. All right, best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday for more plus money opportunities. Adam, say something cool that the golfers say.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.